Welcome to another episode of the ClearTalk podcast. At Solutions 360, we provide the software tools that help customers support and account for their managed services programs. We look after their billing, service level entitlement, the hours that are covered, what the response time should be, and the recurring work that needs to be performed so that nothing falls through the cracks. But we're still seeing a very slow uptake on executing a managed services program. To discuss some of the solutions to this challenge, I'm with Tyler from RevenueFi, which recently merged with Corporate Sales Coaches. He has 15 years of executive sales management, sales process creation, and revenue team development. As an NSCA Advisory Council member, he helps integrators position themselves for recurring revenue and success. Welcome, Tyler. Can you give us an overview of your organization?
Yeah, thanks for having me, John. RevenueFi is a revenue operations and sales consulting agency that's focused on the IT and integration space. There are a lot of sales consulting organizations out there that, say they focus on growing revenue, but as our name states, RevenueFi is amplifying integrators' revenue. Sure, we'll grow your revenue, but more importantly, we're going to make your revenue better. So one of our main focus areas to making your revenue better is helping integrators move from that project-based culture to more of a recurring revenue-based culture. And most recently, RevenueFi has just merged with Corporate Sales Coaches to help bring the ongoing tactical sales coaching side to our solution mix. Corporate Sales Coaches has over a 30-year history of building the world-class sales training courses, and it's now been integrated with RevenueFi's RMR methodology. That's really going to help sales teams adopt their processes to support the massive RMR growth that a lot of integrators have been looking for 5, 6, 10 years now, right?
Absolutely. Excellent. And I think you've nailed it there, because I know we've been working with NSCA for over a decade. And early on in that process, they identified that the transition to managed services is really important. And I think most of the integrators have completely bought into it. They have the desire to do it. They have the will to do it. But a lot running into roadblocks to be successful in this. So Tyler, in general terms, and I know you're really focused on sales, but just general terms about the entire organization, what have you found the difference between an integrator that has been really successful in this transition to recurring monthly revenue and a managed services program and those that haven't? Is there a typical list of obstacles that they run into?
Well, it's interesting because we just got done here at Pivot to Profit, and again the same thing keeps coming up. It's integrators keep saying salespeople are not bringing up managed services. We did a recent webinar here, and of the survey respondents that we had from there, 65% said salespeople are still not bringing it up. And that's an interesting comment, because that might be the top level, but really at RevenueFi we're focused on, okay, what's the reason behind that, and really diving in a little bit deeper on it. And so at the core of why are salespeople not bringing up, why does this keep coming up, really it's selling managed services, selling recurring revenue is completely different than selling a system sale that integrators have been used to selling for a long time. And what we find a lot of times is that integrators are doing, maybe one sales training event, that they're saying, hey, here's the speeds and feeds of our managed service program, but they really don't spend any time doing the ongoing tactical sales coaching to help reinforce that. And they're also not coaching or thinking about it within the entire organization, that managed services, it's a financial strategy. That's really the reason why the integrator's customers are buying a managed service program or a subscription. It's completely different than the reason they buy, say a box that's sitting on a conference room table, right? That's a need that they know that they've got out there. But with a managed service program, it's creating value within the organization for the long term. And so we see a lot of integrators, they're just not focused on what is the value of my program and how do I communicate that out to our ideal customer base.
Yeah, I noticed that too. The conversations often are going on focusing on salespeople. I felt like we were getting picked on quite a bit during Pivot to Profit, but that's all right.
It was a
It,
pick on salesperson year at Pivot to Profit this year, I think. So
exactly, we were underrepresented, but it's interesting. I think the sales piece is critical, but obviously it's more holistic, and I think the salespeople need a much more support, as you were saying. It's not just an afternoon sales training; it is an entire shift of the organization's perspective on what the program is going to do. So you covered some really good general terms that covered the organization. Is there a single biggest success factor for an organization that has actually executed well on managed services?
yeah, I think, as we've looked at it, and I've had the opportunity to look at, upwards of 70 different managed service programs, throughout my career. And, I really break it down to one sentence, and that is, the integrators, the IT companies that are super successful at selling managed services, they understand the value of their managed service program, and they understand the critical events when they need to talk about their managed service program. And so, you think about the first side there, the value of their program. Again, with integrators, we talk a lot about speeds and feeds of these different solutions that we sell. And if we do that from a managed service program, we're going to have a tough time getting traction on that. We really need to think about our managed service programs as that financial strategy. That's the reason why our customers are buying it. And so we have to communicate that. We have to coach our entire organization, not just the sales team, but everybody from our operations team to our service techs. Like, they need to understand that the reason why these customers are buying this solution. And then, the second piece in that sentence is understanding those critical points when we sell managed services. And, I've been hearing for years, just put the managed service program on the proposal, right? Like, we've heard that over and over, like that's going to be the big solution that's going to finally drive it. And unfortunately, we can force that, but that is the absolute worst time for actually winning a managed service program. And so, through our research, the best times for bringing up managed services are prior to even generating a quote or talking about specific solutions, and then after that first project is completed. We see those are the two big areas that have the most success, the highest win rates from driving managed services. And as integrators look to build that out and support those critical events, using a tool like Solutions 360 to kind of hard code those specific actions at each of those stages is just so critical in helping to drive managed services, because our sales folks need that roadmap, and tools like Solutions 360 can really provide that roadmap and support us in those critical events as we're looking to drive the managed services.
Yeah, you make a really good point. So many integrators say, well, just put the monthly payment down on the quote, and that's one of the features that we do provide. We integrate to some leasing organizations where we can just click a button and get a monthly payment for whatever term it is. But that's like you say, that's such a minor piece of it. And I really like your perspective on the fact that it is creating the value to the customer for the overall solution, which is, a longer term, whether it's equipment refreshing or whether it's just that operating expense transaction. But there really are two big pieces to it, right? There is, okay, well, what are we bundling together? Is it refreshing equipment? Is it just proactive services and some mix within that? But also that, and I don't hear that, I haven't heard that in a lot, is that value creation right at the beginning, the very early conversations that a salesperson's had, just articulating that overall solution is a nuance, I think, that's missed quite a bit. I think you're right on the money that's key.
Well, and even your marketing, we're talking about sales a lot here right now, but even your marketing team, you look at your ideal customers in your database in Solutions 360, when you're marketing to them, is managed service just baked into everything you say? So that, because again, customers have to change the way that they budget to buy these solutions, and especially as you start getting to more advanced things like subscriptions and leasing, like that is a completely different budget process for them. And if you're not communicating that super early, it's really hard to just show up when they need a project and say, hey, I know you don't have money in this silo, but we'd like you to try and move money into it to do this. The success just isn't there. And obviously we want to make sure it's on every single proposal, and that is a stopgap, to help with that. But to achieve really high win rates, it's really got to happen way early in the sales process. And then again, you expand your programs after that first project when you go get additional rooms, additional cameras, additional doors, because they're seeing the value of it then.
Right. Yeah, to me, it's a real fresh outlook on how to approach this. And I really look forward to having some mutual customers and see the results of that. I think you really are that key point that's been missing a little bit, not only just articulating it, but, with your experience actually making it happen within an organization. So just as we wrap up here, I've heard that recently at the NSCA event that you've created a compensation and recurring revenue playbook for members to reference. Can you give us a little bit of information about that?
Yeah, for sure. So that was kind of a early joint effort between Revenuify, corporate sales coaches, and NSCA. I caught a little flack at Pivot to Profit when I said salespeople are coin operated, but they really are. And that's actually not a bad thing. If you place the quarter in the right spot where you want salespeople to go, they'll go chase that quarter. And so I think, a lot of times people say, well, they're just working for money. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, we've created that culture with our sales folks that they want that. And, frankly, that creates predictability for integrators. If you create a good comp plan that supports them driving this, they will want to go after that. And in this white paper research that we did with the NSCA, we really went through the math behind, creating not only paying on the front end, but then how you can kind of pay to ensure renewal rates continue, because that's the other piece that we haven't talked about here yet. But when you get a managed service program, you want to make sure that you're keeping that. And so do you continue to keep that renewal rate above 90%? And you want to encourage salespeople to be able to do that. And as we kind of broke down some of the math in this white paper, we really looked at it like, hey, this isn't meant to cost your organization more. But if you really look at it and you're really focused at growing managed services, the actual percentage of commission payout as a percentage of revenue actually goes down as you continue to grow this, over time. And so we took some time to really look at the math on that. And then because integrators do have a lot of different structures, you've got some folks that are, highly focused on the construction market, some that just do direct, some that do both. You've got some integrators that, have account managers versus people that, kind of do everything, type of environment. And so we really broke it down for the different roles that you might have within the integrator too, and applied it for that. So really good document. It's available on the NSCA's resource library now. Just went live right before Pivot to Profit. So a good tool for integrators to get started on, really looking at that comp plan.
Excellent. Well, that sounds like a great resource. So obviously NSCA members know how to get to the resource library. Anybody that's interested in reviewing NSCA and all the benefits of being a member, you can go to nsca.org. If anybody wants to reach out to you, Tyler, what's the best contact information for you?
For sure. Yeah, you can check us out. Our website is revenuify.today, because we are going to amplify your revenue today. So, check us out on our website. You can find me on LinkedIn as well too, just Tyler Ebnett on LinkedIn. That's another great place. We're posting stuff on LinkedIn along with our website on there about the industry. Also, you can catch us at, going back to the NSCA as well too. We're doing a lot of events with them. We're doing a lot of joint research on managed services with them. So, those are probably the three best areas to find us.
All right, excellent. Well, it was an absolute pleasure to speak with you today, and I appreciate you joining us on our podcast. And I look forward to seeing you very soon in the various events. Thank you, Tyler.
Yeah, thanks for having me.